napatedanu mrityu yavan nihashreyashaya vishaya khulu sarvatasyat. Bhagavatam is saying very quickly, you should attain, aspire, you should surrender to Krishna. Because life, there is no guarantee when life will come to an end. So don't delay. We say Shubhasya Shighram. This is the verse. Labhva, having obtained this rare human form of life, after many births and deaths, which is full of value but very temporary, a sober person should very quickly endeavor for the perfection of life to become Krishna conscious. Because death is always chasing behind. So, till death has not come and till you have not fallen down and died, when it's too late, before that, one should very quickly, because other things you can get in any species of life, the sense enjoyment, you can get in any species of life, but connection with God and Krishna consciousness, this you can only do it in human form of life. So you should very quickly uh, endeavor for the ultimate perfection. Yeah, I would like to say anything. After many, many births and deaths, one achieves the rare human form of life, which, although temporary, affords one the opportunity to attain the highest perfection. Thus, a sober human being should quickly endeavor for the ultimate perfection of life, as long as his body, which is always subject to death, has not fallen down and died. After all, sense gratification is available even in the most abominable species of life. So, when a pig is eating stool or is engaged in mating, it's the same pleasure that human beings get. There is no difference. Uh, they are they are getting the pleasures. The human beings are getting pleasure. It's the same pleasure. So this is saying, after all, sense gratification is available even in the most abominable species of life, whereas Krishna consciousness is possible only for a human being. So, so this is the message of the Bhagavatam. As stated by Srila Rupa Goswami in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadi anavritam anukulyena krishnanu shilanam bhaktiruttama. One should render transcendental loving service to the Supreme Lord Krishna favorably and without desires for material profit or gain through fruitive activities or philosophical speculation. That is called pure devotional service. The Narada Panchadaratra also says, Sarvopadi vinirmuktam tatparatvena nirmalam rishikena rishikesha sevanam bhaktiruchyate. One should be free from all material designations and cleansed of all material contamination. He should be restored to his pure identity, in which he engages his senses in the service of the proprietor of the senses. That is called devotional service. This is also called Bhagavad Dharma. Without material aspirations, one should simply serve Krishna, as advised in Bhagavad Gita, Narada Pancharatra, and Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhagavad Dharma is the process of religion enunciated by pure devotees, direct representatives of the Supreme Personality of Godhead like Narada, Shukdev Goswami, and their humble servants in the disciplic succession. By understanding Bhagavad Dharma, one immediately becomes free from material contamination. Living entities who are part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are loitering in this material world, suffering. When they are instructed by the Lord Himself about Bhagavad Dharma and they adopt it, that is victory for the Lord, for He then reclaims these fallen souls. A devotee following the principles of Bhagavad Dharma feels very much obligated to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He can understand the difference between life without Bhagavad Dharma and life with Bhagavad Dharma. So, with life with Krishna consciousness and life without Krishna consciousness, he can see what a stark difference it is. And thus he ever remains obliged to the Lord. So, we should, the more we feel the benefit of Krishna conscious life, the more we'll feel happy and obligated. Oh, yeah. So, you all some feel to some degree, right? Some benefits of Krishna conscious life. So, so then you remain obliged to the Lord and to the devotees because they are the ones who uh, gave you this Krishna consciousness. Taking to Krishna consciousness and bringing fallen souls to Krishna consciousness is victory for Lord Krishna. Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhakti radokshije ahetukya pratihata yayatma suprasidati. The supreme occupation dharma for all humanity is that by which man can attain to loving devotional service unto the transcendent Lord. Such devotional service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted in order to completely satisfy the self. Therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam is the pure transcendental process of religion. So, by Krishna consciousness, one can be completely satisfied and full of joy, happy. So, we have to experience that by practicing, and ultimately, it's all about experience, right? We want to experience. So, experience comes when we first have to do it, right? If you want to get some experience, you have to first, like, I want to get experience of what? How somebody says, oh, it's very nice to be on a cruise, right? And you want to experience that. Then you have to go on that cruise, right? You have to do it. Somebody says, okay, the Disney World in Orlando is very nice, it's wonderful. So you hear about it. Then you actually go there and then you experience it. These are not some things we want to experience, but uh, because we want to experience Krishna consciousness. Other things are not worthwhile uh, because all these other experiences will not take us anywhere, but will keep us bound in this material world. So we don't want other experiences. We want Krishna conscious experiences. Experiences of sense gratification will again inspire you to do that again and again, and you get one body after another. So those experiences are not worthwhile. We want to get an experience in Krishna consciousness. So for that, we have to take out our time. We go on retreats, we go on like Holy Dham, or even in our home, we have to take out our time and say, today I will chant for 5 hours non-stop. I want to experience. You have to give time like that. So then in retreats they do like 64 rounds day. So they want to experience what it is. So you have to give yourself sufficient time. So we can get some experience about spiritual life. And when you get that higher taste in spiritual life, the joy, then everything else pales in comparison. And it is not worthwhile from an intellectual point of view also. Other experiences are not worthwhile because they will not save us from the cycle of birth and death. Okay, it's a waste of time actually. But because we are attached to it, we want some pleasure. So sometimes, yeah, we do all these things. But actually, it's a waste of time. Bhagavatam says life's desire should never be directed towards sense gratification. One should only desire a healthy life or self preservation, and nothing else should be the goal of one's work. Kamasya nendriya pritir labho jiveta yavata. Jivasya tattva jigyasa nartho yasyeha karma bhi. Life's desire should never be directed towards sense gratification. One should desire only a healthy life or self preservation, since a human being is meant for inquiry about the absolute truth. Nothing else should be the goal of one's works. This is Bhagavatam saying. We may not be there like that, we may not. But Bhagavatam is trying to change our value system, right? What we consider the most important in life. So Bhagavatam is trying to change it. It's very difficult to change the value system of anybody, because they think in their life this thing is very important, that thing is very important. So we give. But Bhagavatam is saying this is the most important thing, uh, to awaken Krishna consciousness. Everything else is secondary. If you do all the other things, but you don't do this thing, then you have worked hard for nothing. Dharmasvanustita pumsam visvakshena tatha suya notpade yadirathim shamaya vahi kevalam. He says you've done all hard work, all other engagements which don't lead up to Krishna consciousness, then they are useless. It's hard work you have done for nothing. You build a big house or all these things, but if it doesn't uh, give you attraction for hearing about Krishna, then it's all is the worse. Because you'll rotate in the cycle of birth and death. Dharma swanustita pumsam svakshena katha suya notpadayed yadi ratim. Ratim means attraction. Shrama eva hi kevalam. The occupational activities a man performs according to his own position are only so much useless labor if they do not provoke attraction for the message of the personality of Godhead. So don't waste time. Time is very valuable in the human form of life, and we have limited time, so don't waste time. Make an effort, a very ardent effort, very concentrated effort to become Krishna conscious. That's what I'm saying. Don't waste time. Don't get distracted by so many other so-called duties in this world. Of course, we have to do or take care of a family, but everything is temporary in this world. So just as we have forgotten the family of our past life, in a few years we'll forget the family of this life. Right? We are all souls. So nothing is permanent. And without us, also the world will go on. It's not like if I die, the world will not go on. The world will go on. So, so do your duties in a Krishna conscious way. Help everybody else in your family to become Krishna conscious. And as a family unit, you make progress towards Krishna consciousness. Right? So, but don't let your Krishna consciousness be affected by anything else, because it is not worth it. Okay, that's kind of the message. Vishama matirna yatra nirnam tvam ahamiti mama taveti chayat anyatra vishama dhiya rachito yaha sahiya vishuddha shaishnur adharma bahula. Being full of contradictions, all forms of religion, but Bhagavad Dharma work under conceptions of fruitive results and distinctions of you and I and yours and mine. The followers of Srimad Bhagavatam have no such consciousness. They're all Krishna conscious, thinking that they are Krishna's and Krishna is theirs. There are other low class religious systems which are contemplated for killing of enemies or gain of mystic power. But such religious systems, being full of passion and envy, are impure and temporary. Because they are full of envy, they are full of irreligion. So there are lower forms of religious systems where you do a lot of spiritual activities. I mean, it's in the Vedas. There's many things which you do to get some material benefit, and then which all result under the conceptions of I and mine, or that's yours, this is mine. But actually, everything belongs to Krishna. So I belong to Krishna. Krishna is mine. Yeah, I'm part and parcel of Krishna. So I belong to Krishna, and Krishna is mine. Yeah, because when there is intimate loving relationship, there is a feeling of possessiveness, right? Oh, Krishna is mine. Of course, it's not only mine, but Krishna is everybody's, because the Lord, and there is no limitation on the Lord's side to reciprocate with everybody, because He is unlimited. Like in gopis when they were dancing with Krishna, Krishna was present with each gopi, and every gopi was thinking, every every gopi was thinking, right? Krishna is with me. So, so that is the. So it is Krishna and Krishnas. So other localized religious systems, they want to like get become powerful in this material world. They want to kill their enemies. They want to get some mystic power, some yoga siddhis where you can become. Yogis have so many siddhis. They can float on water. They can all these things. So, but it's based on passion. Passion means desire for enjoyment and envy because you want to be on the top. So, because they are full of envy, they are full of irreligion. Okay. So that's what he's saying. Chitraketu Maharaj is saying. But Bhagavad Dharma is pure devotional service. Bhagavad Dharma has no contradictions. Conceptions of your religion and my religion are completely absent from Bhagavad Dharma. Or this is my country and this is your country and this is you and mine and all this. It doesn't belong to any of us. We think that everything that is connected to me is very glorious. My nation is glorious, my this thing is my family is glorious, everything that is connected to me, somehow we want to feel. Because I am very glorious, everything connected to me should be very glorious also. It's false ego. It's a expansion of false ego. So my family, my children should be on the top. Right? It's all about me and mine. My I should be on the top, like that. So that is a competitiveness. Like we are coming from a competitive world. So sometimes we bring this competitiveness even in spiritual life. So we want to be like better than everybody else. And we want to be like that. So we want to rise up the spiritual. I want to become the temple president, and I want to become this and that, and I want to become guru. I want to have many followers and like that. So this
Mhm.
all can come. Huh? Yeah. Go ahead. Somebody wanted to say something. Sumakant. Okay. So, yeah. Umakant, you wanted to say something? I don't know if you wanted to say.
No, Prabhuji, accidentally I say something,
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, yeah. No problem. So yeah, we want to we bring competitiveness into spiritual life and want to feel even in devotees, we want to feel I'm the best devotee, I'm better than others. Because we come from a competitive world, right? In this material life, we are competing. But there is in spiritual life there is no competition in one way because Krishna can reciprocate with you equally as he can reciprocate with somebody else. So there is no competition. That if somebody else gets Krishna, you will not get Krishna. Like in job, right? If somebody else gets the job, then I will not get the job. No, Krishna can reciprocate with everybody simultaneously and he can give himself completely. So this is the so Bhagavad Dharma. So there is no competition, but we can take inspiration. We can take inspiration from those who are serving Krishna so nicely and are pure hearted. You know, they are serving Krishna with no other desire. So we can take inspiration from them and we can think, oh, how I can also become like them. Not to become on the top or anything, but how I can also make spiritual progress. So how they are happy, how I can also become happy in Krishna consciousness. They are happy, they are chanting Hare Krishna, they are so joyful. So normally we feel somebody has a nice house and a nice better car and a better spouse. And we think, oh, he's so happy. I want to get that. That's material things. And material things means somebody has something more than you want to. Like, oh, we feel envious, or we feel, oh, I wish I wasn't that. I would have gotten things like him. Then I would be so happy. That's there in the material world. Everybody's looking to everybody else and saying, oh, yeah. But in spiritual life, we should look to the devotees and say, oh, how advanced they are, how nicely they are serving, how they are not wasting time, how they are free from material desires, and they've dedicated their life to Krishna. Wish I could become like them. So that's like not to like be on the top, but how I can also surrender to Krishna. So that is how it becomes very contagious, right? So Prabhupada, when he came, nobody heard about Krishna at all before. Nobody even knew who is Krishna. The word Krishna did not even bring anything, like not even ring any bells or anything. But Prabhupada, because of his surrender and his purity, he inspired so many to take up. So Bhagavad Dharma means following the orders given by the Supreme Lord, Bhagwan, as stated in Bhagavad Gita. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. God is one and God is for everyone. Therefore, everyone must surrender to God. That is the pure conception of religion. Whatever God orders constitutes religion. Dharman tu sakshat bhagavad pranitam. So whatever Krishna says, that is truth. In Bhagavad Dharma, there is no question of what you believe and what I believe. Everyone must believe in the Supreme Lord and carry out His orders. Anukulyena Krishnanushīlanam. So you should accept Krishna, like Arjuna did. Arjuna said, I accept everything that you have said in truth. So, of course, we may doubt. So we can ask questions when we have doubts and things. But ultimately, whatever Krishna says is truth, whether you like it or you don't like it. You have your conception of truth. Everybody has their own set of beliefs, and that is not how absolute truth is dependent. So I can have my beliefs, you can have your beliefs, and the third person will have his beliefs. So, but that's why we call it absolute truth. Absolute truth means it stands on its own, without what you think or I think or somebody else thinks. It is not dependent. It's absolute. It's not dependent on the perceptions of so many people. That's why it's called absolute truth. So let's say I don't believe that I am the soul, and I don't believe in reincarnation. You can do whatever you say. You can believe in whatever you want to believe. That's your prerogative. Krishna has given that free will to everybody. But that doesn't change the fact that you are the soul and you will have to reincarnate. You may say, I don't believe Krishna is God. Well, that's your belief. You have the right. But that doesn't change the fact that Krishna is God. I don't believe Trump is the president of America. You cannot believe, that's okay. That's your prerogative. But that doesn't change the facts, right? So that's why it's called absolute truth. And Arjuna is saying, Sarvameta dhritam manye, yan mam vadashi keshava, nahite bhagwan vyaktim vidur devana danava. So that is called implicit faith, right? Oh Krishna, I totally accept as truth all that you have told me. This is the this is like following in the footsteps of Arjuna. Sometimes we have doubts, so yeah, we can discuss and like that. We can tadvitti pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya updekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshina. But there are many things we cannot understand, right, with our limited intelligence and our mind is also contaminated by so many things. So we should not reject it outright and say, "Oh, I don't believe this. I don't." No, no, this is right, but right now I'm not able to comprehend. But as I become pure in heart, as I see the qualification to understand the spiritual life is purity of heart, freedom from material desires. Then we can. This knowledge will make more and more sense. But as long as we are not completely pure, we'll understand partially. But when we become completely pure, then we'll understand this fully. So understand and we'll realize it fully. So because we are not fully pure in heart, like everything requires qualification, right? If I want to learn some subject or appreciate something, then I need qualification in that particular field. So for spiritual life also, the qualification is our purity of heart. So how do you become pure? Then the question is. The question is that you become pure by engaging in devotional service in the right consciousness, so in the right with the right attitude. So that's how we can become pure. What is the right attitude? Right attitude is that I'm doing it to please Krishna. Right attitude is Trinadapi Sunichena, Tarorapi Sahishuna, Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadari. Giving up our false ego is the right attitude. Like becoming humble and like in that way, if we approach Krishna, then we will understand. As long as we have our own, you know, false ego, then it is difficult. दीनेरा अधिक दया करे भगवान कुलीना पंडिता धनीरा बड़ा अभिमान. The Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna is always favorable to the humble and meek. That means he will reveal more. But aristocrat, learned scholars, and the wealthy are always proud of their position. So, so this is why that's why we are told to be in Trinada Pisunichena consciousness. Don't think you are very great, like that we should think we are very great. That's an obstacle to understanding. I'm not very great. I'm very small. So so there is no question of what you believe, what I believe. Perhaps it may be like this. Perhaps it may be like that. It's not a speculation. Everyone must believe in the Supreme Lord and carry out His orders. Prabhupada is saying this is the ideal thing. But everybody will not accept like that, right? Because everybody has free will. And Krishna does not. The Krishna doesn't force himself also. Yatha ichasi tatha kuru. In the 18th chapter, Krishna says, "So I have told you everything. Now you do. Now you deliberate on this, and you do what you want to do. You act as if what, however you want to." And there is a verse like that. Yatha ichasi tatha kuru. As you desire, so you act. 18.63. Iti te jnanamakhyatam bhuyat guhyataram maya vimrishya etad asheshena yathechasi tatha guru. Thus I have explained to you knowledge, still more confidential. Deliberate on this fully, and then do what you wish to do. So, the Lord has already explained to Arjuna the knowledge of Brahma Bhuta. One who is in the Brahma Bhuta condition is joyful. He never laments nor does he desire anything. This is due to confidential knowledge. Krishna also discloses knowledge of the super soul. This is also Brahman knowledge, knowledge of Brahman, but it is superior. Here the words Yathechasi Tatha Kuru, as you like, you may act, indicate that God does not interfere with the little independence of the living entity. God does not interfere. In Bhagavad Gita, the Lord is explained in all respects how one can elevate his living condition. The best advice imparted to Arjuna is to surrender unto the super soul seated within his heart. By right discrimination, one should agree to act according to the order of the super soul. That will help one become situated constantly in Krishna consciousness. So we should act according to the direction of the super soul. That means Krishna, direction of Krishna. Arjuna is being directly ordered by the personality of Godhead to fight. Surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the best interest of the living entities. This is in our best interest, but we don't know what is in our best interest when we are under illusion. Like when you are drinking or smoking, when you are under illusion, we don't know what is in our best interest. So we act against our interest. Like yesterday in Thursday program, we were reading how our mind, the mind is the best friend or it's the worst enemy. It is the cause of bondage, it is the cause of liberation. So it is not for the interest of the Supreme. Before surrendering, one is free to deliberate on this subject as far as the intelligence goes. Krishna is saying, deliberate means consider this, contemplate on this. That is the best way to accept the instruction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Means think deeply about it. Don't think just superficially. Think deeply about who you are, why you are here, what is the purpose of life, what happens after death. Like most people don't think all these questions. They are just so much. We are all so much entrapped by the social life and all these things that we don't think about these questions deeply or act on to find the answers. Uh, because mostly we are just going through the motions of life, waiting for death to come. We are just trying to enjoy here a little bit here and there, but we don't think, ponder about these questions of life. And I want to enjoy, but why there is so many obstacles to my enjoyment? Why it is like that? Yeah. So why I have to struggle very hard to enjoy? We don't think, we don't ask this question. Is this really enjoyment? Struggling hard like this. Is this really enjoyment? Because everybody is doing it, so I am doing it. Yeah, but is this the way it should be? Is this a goal of life like that? Sometimes you have to think deeply. Such instruction. So of course we are living in this world. We need money. Main thing is we need money, right? Because we need to buy some food, something. We need a place to live, so we need money to build a house, money for buying some clothes to cover our body, right? Like that. So, but by Krishna's grace, these necessities are fulfilled for a devotee. So then we should think about. Then we should not think how I can make better, uh, a better house and still better house and still better, and like there is no end to it, right? If you and in that process of making it better and better, we may forget and death may come in between at any time, and we may all our plans may go just all yeah, they may all just turn out to be futile suddenly. So but that is the illusion. This is going on and on. We are under the illusion like that. So how to better my material situation, how to make a better material situation for my family, for my children. Yeah, it's according to your karma, you're going to get whatever you're going to get. But Bhagavatam says that, okay, you should try for Krishna consciousness. All these things you have tried in so many lifetimes, all these things you have done. And we have to do this life also to the extent it's, I mean, so Bhagavatam, this another verse is says, Tasyeva heto prayate kovido na labhyate yad brahmatam upari yadha tallabhyate dukhavadanyata sukham kale na sarvatra gabir ranhasa Persons who are actually intelligent and philosophically inclined should endeavor only for that purposeful end, which is not obtainable even by wandering from the topmost planet down to the lowest planet, Patal. As far as happiness derived from sense enjoyment is concerned, it can be obtained automatically in course of time. Just as in course of time we obtain miseries, even though we do not desire them. Hmm. So we don't try for misery. Like now I'm having cough and cold. I didn't plan to have cough and cold, right? It just came on its own. Hmm. Of course, I may not have worn my jacket or something like that. Whatever it may be. Sometimes you wear everything, but still you may get cough and cold. So you didn't plan for it, but it came. And because of that, you may not be able to sleep at night. That's why I got up late. But whatever it may be, but misery we don't plan. But it comes in our life. Cancer just happens automatically. Right? It just comes. We didn't plan for it. So in the same way, whatever you are destined to get, in materially speaking, you will get. Just as misery is coming. So don't try to too much. You have to work, but don't be too much engrossed. Otherwise, everybody who's working hard is going to become very successful materially. They're going to get a lot of money and a lot of assets like that. It doesn't happen like that. So, by your previous karma, you have a certain standard of life that you have. So now Krishna has given this nice situation so that you don't have to struggle. So you can concentrate uh, on the higher goals of life. So Krishna has not given nice situation, so you can make it even materially better and like that. But it has been given to you so that you can focus on uh, understanding spiritual life and things like that. Like we give this example that a high court judge has been given a maid servant in the house to to clean the thing, to do the laundry and whatever, to clean the floor, to sweep the floor, to all this, so that he doesn't have to bother with all these things. Uh, he has been given a driver so that he doesn't have to drive the car. He can, while driving also, he can read about the cases that he has to deal with that day, and he can pass his judgment very nicely because if he will study all the law books and everything, so he can do his duty very nicely. Similarly, in human life, we have been given, we don't have to worry, most of us here, we don't have to worry when we'll get our next meal, how will the meal come from, when the food will. So this is all taken care of so that you can concentrate. And of course, you may say, I'm getting food because I'm having a job. If I didn't have a job, then I wouldn't have money. So yeah, Krishna has given you a nice job. So you work and use your money, offer your food to Krishna, chant Hare Krishna, and live a peaceful life. And Krishna is in charge. Krishna is in control. So Krishna will provide. So in this way, make your life peaceful, free from anxiety. Like that is quality life. We don't want to get stressed out. And quality life means life full of joy and happiness and free from anxiety. So that is what we want. And God conscious, free from anxiety and doing service to God, chanting Hare Krishna, reading all the books Prabhupada has written. So we should have time to read all these books. So like that. So Prabhupada is saying here, every man everywhere is trying to obtain the greatest amount of sense enjoyment by various endeavors. Some men are busy engaged in trade, industry, economic development, political supremacy, and some of them are engaged in fruitive work to become happy in the next life by attaining higher planets. So, so it is said that on the moon, the inhabitants are fit for greater sense enjoyment by drinking somras, and pitralok is obtained by good charitable work. So there are various programs for sense enjoyment. either during this life or in this life after death. Some are trying to reach the moon or other planets by some mechanical arrangement, for they are very anxious to get into such planets without doing good work, but it is not to happen. By the laws of Supreme, different places are meant for different grades of living beings according to the work they have performed. By good work only, as prescribed in the scriptures, one can obtain birth in a good family, opulence, good education, and good bodily features. We also see that even in this one life, one obtains a good education or money by good work. Similarly, in our next births, we get such desirable positions only by good work. Otherwise, it would not so happen that two persons born in the same place at the same time are seen differently placed according to previous work. But all such material positions are impermanent. The position in the topmost Brahmalok and the lowest Patal are also changeable according to our own work. Karma can change. The philosophically inclined person must not be tempted by such changeable positions. He should try to get into permanent life of bliss and knowledge, where he will not be forced to come back again to this miserable material world, either in this or that planet. Miseries and mixed happiness are two features of material life, and they are obtained in Brahmalok and in other lokas also. So we should not tolerate any mixed bag. We want pure. So this mixed bag, mixed happiness, they are obtained in the life of demigods and also in the life of dogs and hogs. The miseries and mixed happiness of all living beings are only of different degree and quality. But no one is free from the miseries of birth, death, old age, and disease. Similarly, everyone has his destined happiness also. No one can get more or less of these things simply by personal endeavors. Even if they are obtained, they can be lost again. One should not therefore waste time with these flimsy things. One should only endeavor to go back to God. That should be the mission of everyone's life. So, Prabhupada very inspiringly he writes and very straightforward. Okay, so if one is actually Krishna conscious, he cannot have any enemies. Since his only engagement is to induce others to surrender to Krishna or God, how can he have enemies? If one advocates the Hindu religion, the Muslim religion, the Christian religion, this religion or that religion, there will be conflicts. History shows that the followers of religious system, without a clear conception of God, have fought with one another. So Hindus are fighting Muslims and Christians, the Protestants are fighting the Catholics, and like that there is always fighting going on. There are many instances of this in human history. That's why some people say, oh, we don't want to do anything with religion, because religion is the cause of all this disagreements and fights. Like, yeah, recently, so many people were killed in Kashmir, right? Because they said, oh, you're from a different religion. You recite the kalma, right? Whatever they. If you can't recite, you are not a Muslim. So they killed them on the spot. So this is very shallow understanding, fanatic. There are people who are fanatic. They think their religion is the best, like that. Because I'm following this religion, so my whatever is related to me is the best, like that, and they kill. But actual religion is one. Religion is one. It's love of God for everybody. And if you love God, then you love all the living beings. You see everybody as part and parcel of God. Then you cannot do all these things, killing in the name of religion like this. That's not so. But who is there to explain? There is nobody to explain. Instead, they are propagating the wrong philosophy, the wrong understanding. So everybody else, everybody is child of God, right? If you are spirit soul, everybody else is also spirit soul. So they are uh, misguided, right? So like now in Delhi also there was a bomb blast, and some suicide bomber. He gave up his life to kill other people. So this is how they are fanatic. They don't understand. Their brain is dull and they've been misguided, brainwashed. So there are many instances of this in human history. But systems of religion that do not concentrate upon service to the Supreme are temporary and cannot last for long because they are full of envy. So, actual followers who are lovers of God, they are very kind hearted, they are very soft hearted, they are very compassionate, they have all the good qualities. So, what is this? This is not religion, what they are doing, killing other people in the name of religion and saying that we are, followers of God. No, we cannot be followers of God. So, like that, there are so many religious wars that have been fought also. Because a devotee of God should have all the good qualities: freedom from material desires, compassion for other living beings, kind hearted, very soft, very tolerant, forgiving. All these are, Krishna talks about all these Vaishnav qualities. We had a seminar on Vaishnav Ke Guna, right? So these are all the qualities. No false ego, no pride, very humble, ready to serve others. So there are many activities directed against such religious systems, and therefore one must give up the idea of my belief and your belief. Everyone should believe in God and surrender unto Him. That is Bhagavad Dharma. Prabhupada would say sometimes, chant the names of God. Right? So if you don't accept Krishna's name, then you chant in your religion, whatever the name of God that you have in your religion, you chant that name of God. But chant the names of God. Bhagavad Dharma is not a concocted sectarian belief, for it entails research to find how everything is connected with Krishna. So when he would meet Christians, he would say, you are Christian, thou shalt not kill. How can you call yourself Christian when you are killing animals? There is no compassion. And you are eating the animals. There is no compassion really. So how can you call yourself as a Christian? Because you are not following Jesus Christ. So Bhagavad Dharma is not a concocted sectarian belief, for it entails research to find how everything is connected with Krishna. Ishavashyam idam sarvam. According to Vedic injunction, sarvam khalva idam brahma. Brahman, the Supreme, is present in everything. Bhagavad Dharma captures this presence of the Supreme. So we are at 8 o'clock, we'll just finish this. Bhagavad Dharma does not consider everything in the world to be false. Because everything emanates from the Supreme, nothing can be false. It is not false. The way you are seeing it is false. Everything has some use in the service of the Supreme. For example, we are now dictating into a microphone, recording on a dictating machine. And thus we are finding how the machine can be connected to the Supreme Brahman. So Prabhupada was dictating this purport. Since we are using this machine in the service of the Lord, it is Brahman. How to write a book, to write instead of writing, he's dictating. So you have to remember the flow, right? What you have said and what did you say in the previous verse and like that. So it's very difficult to do that service, like how to dictate it. But Prabhupada says when I sit down to, write or dictate, it is Krishna who is guiding me from the heart. He is actually coming and telling me. So this is the meaning of, that's why Prabhupada dictated all these things. This is the meaning of Sarvam Khalvam Idam Brahma. Everything is Brahman because everything can be used for the service of the Supreme Lord. Nothing is mithya, false. Everything is factual. So our body is factual. The soul is factual. The soul's identification with the body as one's identity is not factual. But the body is there, the soul is there. But I accepting that the body is me is not correct. Or everything that is there is for my enjoyment, the way I see. So that is not factual. So, so in this way, the body can be used in Krishna's service. The soul can be engaged in Krishna's service. Everything can be used. This is called Yukta Vairagya. So nothing is mithya, false. Everything is factual. Because it is the energy of Krishna. How can it be false? You can say it's temporary. the shape of the body. But actually, even uh, by law of conservation of energy, matter cannot be created or destroyed, right? Energy cannot. So our body's shape will change, but then it will become dust. But it'll still, the matter is still there, right? It's in a different form. Like we go and we take ashes and we spread it in the Yamuna. Now that's the body only, but it has been transformed into ashes. So, so our body will be transformed into ashes, or like that, ashes to, if it is thrown to the vultures, then they will with their beak they will tear apart our body, pull out the intestines and eat it. Sometimes we have a dead body on the road, right? Some animal has died, some deer, and then all the vultures are coming and they are eating it up. So like that. So Bhagavad Dharma is Sarva Krishna, the best of all. But while we have the body, we can use it for Krishna's service. Our karmendriyas and gyanendriyas. Save mana Krishna padar vindayo vachanshi vaikuntha gunanu varnane. Karor harir mandira marjana dishu. Shrutim chakara achyuta sach kathodaye. That is a nice verse in the Bhagavatam. Save mana Krishna padar vindayo vachanshi vaikuntha gunanu varnane. Karor harir mandira marjana dishu. Shrutim chakara achyuta sat kathodaye. मुकुंदलिंगालय दर्शने दृशो तद्भृत्य गात्र स्पर्शे अंग संगमम घ्राणम च तत्पाद सरोज सौरभे श्रीमत् तुलस्य रसनम तदर्पिते पादो हरिर्क्षेत्र पदानुसर्पणे शिरो ऋषिकेश पदाभिवंदने कामं च दास्ये न तु काम काम्यया यथोत्तम श्लोका जनाश्रय रतिः. So this is Amrish Maharaj, mind in thinking of Krishna, how to spread Krishna consciousness, how to give Krishna consciousness to others, how to do service for Krishna, how to purify my existence. So we have to remember Krishna's message, Krishna's service, and our tongue or our speech in describing. Instead of speaking all the different things about so many things, you can speak, right? As Mukunda Mala Stotra says, right? That how people they reject the life-giving nectar of Krishna Katha and they speak all the other things. So many things, right? So instead of speaking about Krishna, uh, what is that verse? Sudham Parityajya Visham Pibanti. So instead of talking about Krishna, Namani Narayana Grocharani. Yeah. Oh, how Ashcharya. This is another Ashcharya verse. Ashcharya Etam di Manushya Loke. This is Mukundamala Stotra written by King Kulashekar. It says, Ashcharyam etadhi manushya loke sudham parityajya visham pibanti. Sudha is nectar. Instead of talking about self-realization and this, we're talking about so many worldly topics. Ashcharyam, what is a great, what a, such a surprise. What is in this world? Sudham parityajya visham pibanti. They are drinking poison, giving up nectar. Namani narayana gocharani. Tyaktva anya vachaha kuhaka patanti. The greatest wonder in human society is this. People are so incorrigible that they reject life-giving nectar of Lord Narayan's names and instead drink poison by speaking everything else. So most of the time we are self-absorbed and we speak about, go on speaking about our things and our. Of course, we should if we want some solution, but ultimately we want to improve so that we can talk about self realization, how we can inspire each other. This is what devotees do when they meet. They discuss spiritual subject matter. Machita madgata prana bodhayanta parasparam kathayantascha mam nityam tushyanti charamanti cha. Satam prasangan mama virya samvido bhavanti ritkarna rasayana katha. तज्जोषनादाश्व अपवर्ग वर्तमनि श्रद्धा रतिर भक्तिर अनुक्रमिष्यति. This is spoken by Kapila Dev. In the association of pure devotees, discussion of the pastimes and activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is very pleasing and satisfying to the ear and the heart. So we may not feel like that. It's very pleasing and satisfying because we are not pure in our heart. By cultivating such knowledge, one gradually becomes advanced. So we have to cultivate. By cultivating such knowledge, one gradually becomes advanced on the path of liberation and thereafter is freed and his attraction becomes fixed. Attraction to Supreme Lord becomes fixed. Then real devotion and devotional service begin. So before it will be unsteady and we'll have no taste. We'll have taste for all other things. We'll have no taste. But after some time, it's like with anything else also in the material world. You are smoking, you don't have any taste in the beginning, but you keep smoking, then you will get taste. So we can get taste if we do it every day. If we read about Krishna, read the Bhagavatam, then we'll get taste. I want to read, I want to do this. This is nice. So this is good way of cultivation. If you chant every day, then you'll get some taste. As Rupa Goswami says, if you chant with attention, with respect, carefully, then you get some taste. Then you say, why not? I want to chant every day. This is very nice. I look forward to this. Then you get more taste. Then you say, why not? Why less time for chanting? I'll chant even more. This is so much. As Rupa Goswami says, oh, Tunde Tandavani Ratim Vitanute Tundavali Labde. Oh, this is so nice, this Hare Krishna. I wish I can chant and hear. I wish I had millions of ears and tongues like that. I could chant this. I don't know how much nectar is there in this holy name of Krishna. So we will get attached to it. Then nobody has to tell us. We will do it anyway. Like nobody has to tell us to eat prasadam, right? We are naturally attracted. So similarly, chanting can also become like that. Hearing Bhagavatam can also become like that. Reading Bhagavatam. It's all question of taste. So initially there is no taste. So yesterday we were reading this verse. So it's an austerity of the mind. In the beginning, Krishna says, we have to make the mind a little bit, take it away from other things. Mana prasada somyatvam maunam atma vinigraha bhavasan shuddhiriti etat tapo manasamuchyate. And satisfaction, simplicity, gravity, self-control, and purifications of one existence are the austerities of the mind. So there's a nice purport we'll read. To make the mind austere is to detach it from sense gratification. So don't contemplate on it. Take it away. It should be so trained that it can be always thinking of doing good for others. Means how to give Krishna to others. That's the ultimate good. The best training for the mind is gravity in thought. Gravity means like deeply thinking. One should not deviate from Krishna consciousness and must always avoid sense gratification. To purify one's nature is to become Krishna conscious. Satisfaction of the mind can be obtained only by taking the mind away from the thoughts of sense enjoyment. The more we think of sense enjoyment, the more the mind becomes dissatisfied. As Krishna says, Avritam jnanam etena jnanino nityavedina kama rupena kaunteya dushpurena analena cha. In the third chapter, he is saying that how this is like lust. Lust is like fire that burns and is never satisfied and it keeps you always agitated. So satisfaction of the mind can be obtained only by taking the mind away from thoughts of sense enjoyment. Sometimes we think I will miss out. I'll miss out on the enjoyment. No, no, you are not going to miss out. You'll go. Some party is going on somewhere, and you have not been invited to that party, and you think, oh, I'm missing out. I'm missing out. There is some nice movie that has come in the town. Of course, now we have Netflix, but Yeah, I'm going to miss out if I don't see this movie, if I don't see it. No, no, you're not going to miss out. That hankering is there, right? Like the football match is going on. If I don't get the ticket, then I will miss out on the fun. No, no. So you have to take your mind away. No, no, that's not going to give you satisfaction. Actually, your satisfaction will be when you detach yourself from that. Then you will be satisfied. You will be peaceful. So satisfaction of the mind can be obtained only by taking the mind away from thoughts of sense enjoyment. So don't allow your mind to dwell. As soon as the thoughts may come, but don't dwell on it. Change the direction of the mind. The more we think of sense enjoyment, the more the mind becomes dissatisfied. In the present age, we unnecessarily engage the mind in so many different ways for sense gratification. So ultimately, we want to become Atmaram. We want to become self satisfied. Otherwise, the mind will say, go here, do this, buy this, that, go there, here, like that, and the mind will take you all over. And then, if you don't have money and you want to go on a vacation and you don't have money, then you'll say, oh my God, I'm so sad. I cannot go on that vacation. I did not go to this place, which people are saying it's so nice, and I didn't eat in that restaurant. So, like that, the mind is always. But if you are satisfied, you can just sit in your home, chant Hare Krishna, read a verse, few verses of Bhagavad Gita, go out and distribute books, talk to others about Krishna, like that, and you can be satisfied. That is what Prabhupada says. Vaishnava means satisfied. Hmm. What did he say? Prabhupada says like this. Vaishnava means one who is able to sit down anywhere, under any condition, and be happy. He doesn't need this and that and so many things external to make him happy. He can sit any down. There will be very such a nice. Can you imagine how nice if we can come to this state of consciousness? Our happiness does not depend on all the external things. We can be, we can rejoice from within. We can be happy. So that's why spiritual life is an internal thing. It's an internal process of being joyful. So you don't have to look for joy from things outside in this world. Oh, unless I have a child, I will not be happy. Unless I get this job, I will not be happy. Unless I get the latest car, I will not be happy. So, like that, when you are happy from within, then you are not hankering for all these things. So, Vaishnava means one who is able to sit down anywhere, under any condition, and be happy. Of course, I'm not at this platform, but this is where we want to be. He wants only a place to lay down, a little prasadam, because we have to eat to survive. So, little prasadam. And if there is a little service he can do, gladly let me do it for Krishna. That's all. Little service means we want to do more service like that because we get attached to Krishna. So one should not deviate. So the best course here is saying, Prabhupada is saying, in the present age, we unnecessarily engage the mind in so many different ways for sense gratification. So there is no possibility of the mind's becoming satisfied because there is constant dissatisfaction. The best course is to divert the mind to Vedic literature, which is full of satisfying stories. So initially, even you divert it, still the lingering is there, right? Oh, wish I could do that. No, but we just keep, as Vaisheshika Prabhu says, keep the transcendental vibration going. Means just keep hearing, keep chanting, somehow remembering Krishna while you do other activities, your household work and whatever job. Somehow keep remaining Krishna consciousness. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu ma manusmara yudhyacha. So it's saying that there is no possibility of minds becoming satisfied. The best course is to divert the mind to Vedic literature. So when mind is giving some trouble with some thought, divert the mind. Pick up your beat bag, chant Hare Krishna, read some verses from Bhagavatam. And sometimes you have to give instruction to the mind. Mana Shiksha. Constantly you have to give instruction. No, not this, mind. You are not the boss, I am the boss. Come here, don't go there, like we tell the child. Don't go there, that's no, come inside, like this. It's cold outside, don't go there. So the intelligence is to the mind like a mother is to a child. So we have to constantly give instruction to the mind. It's called mana shiksha. Even it doesn't like it. The child may not like. My mother is controlling me so much, he's not allowing me to do this, not allowing me to play with the knife, this, that, so many. The mind will scream, but you say no. When you are chanting Hare Krishna, also the mind screams, Hare, stop this chanting. No, no, now you have to do this, now you have to do that. So many things. No. Now think of that thing. No. You said, no way. So this is how one has to be arrogant. One has to be arrogant, not with others, but with our own mind. This is like a warrior. Unless you have the warrior mentality, you cannot make progress. Because Prabhupada says, spiritual life means declaring war against Maya. If you are complacent, if you are saying, chalta hai, hota hai, jaisa, it's like complacent like that, and you remain peaceful like that, but that's not really going to help to make progress. You have to have a fighting spirit. You have to have a fighting spirit, like a warrior, like Arjuna, very fighting spirit. So that is called a fired, we say a fired up devotee. Fired up devotee means he has that fire and he is very enthusiastic. He has that fighting spirit. So we should all have that. I'm just telling this to myself. So one can take advantage of this knowledge and thus become purified. The mind should be like Prabhupada had that fighting spirit. So many obstacles, but he will not. He was persevering. You know, not some army men they fight, right? Even they are wounded, they'll fight. So one can take advantage of this knowledge and thus become purified. The mind should be devoid of duplicity, and one should think of the welfare of all. Hmm. Yeah, we should not say something and do something. And one should think of the welfare of all. We should be well wisher to everyone. Like Krishna is the well wisher of everyone. Silence means that one is always thinking of self realization. Yeah. Constantly endeavoring to purify one's existence. The person in Krishna consciousness observes perfect silence in this sense. So we try our best and then leave the rest. Control of the mind means detaching the mind from sense enjoyment. One should be straightforward in his dealings and thereby purify his existence. All these qualities together constitute austerity in mental activities. Yeah, means we should be very, like, yeah, very simple and straightforwardly we should accept Prabhupada's instructions. And even if you have not been able to follow, that's okay, but we should try. We should try to. Okay, so that's the austerity of the mind. Okay, so then Bhagavad Dharma is called Sarvot Krishta, the best of all. Today we don't have, I think we didn't join the call. So we don't have that Kunti Devi's prayers. Bhagavad Dharma is called Sarvot Krishta, the best of all religious systems, because those who follow Bhagavad Dharma are not envious of anyone. Pure Bhagavatas, pure devotees invite everyone without envy to join the Krishna consciousness movement. A devotee is therefore exactly like the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Suridam Sarva Bhutanam. He is the friend of all living entities. Titikshava Karunika Surida Sarva Dehina Ajata Shatrava Shanta Sadhava Sadhu Bhushana. This is the quality of a devotee. He is Surida Sarva Dehina. As Krishna says, Bhoktaram Yagna Tapasam Sarva Loka Maheshwaram Suridam Sarva Bhutanam Gyatva Mam Shantim Richati. Prabhupada is quoting that 529 here. Means he is the well-wishing friend of all. So devotees also, Prabhupada would write his letters. You're ever well-wisher. He is the friend of all living entities. Therefore, this is the best of all religious systems. Whereas so-called religious systems are meant for a particular type of person who believes in a particular way, such discrimination has no place in Krishna consciousness or Bhagavad Dharma. If we scrutinize the religious system meant for worship of demigods or anyone else, but the Supreme Personality of God will find that they are full of envy and therefore impure. Okay, so any comments we have? Anybody like to share anything?
Prabhuji, I have one question that you say that everything is factual, and there is another statement that Iswar Satya Jagat Mithya.
Hmm.
So, it is the same meaning, or there is some contradiction
No,
here?
that is the Mayavadis. They say that Brahma Satya Jagat Mithya. Devotees don't say it
Mhm.
is Mithya because it is the energy
Okay.
of the Supreme Lord. But it can be Mithya, means it can be false, if we see it in a different way than how
Huh.
it is supposed to be. That is called Maya. Maya means not seeing as it is. That's called Ma. Ma means not, and Ya means this. Not this means what you are seeing is not the reality. It's called Maya. So illusion. So sometimes we give this example. A rope is there and it's dark, and you may think that rope is a snake, but it's not a snake. It's a rope, but you are perceiving it as a snake. Similarly, we perceive so many things in this world in a different way than what Krishna is telling. So that is called illusion. Like an illusion, like we have optical illusion, means it's not exactly how it is, but because you see it, like magicians, they do this optical illusion. You see something which is not true, so that is false. They sometimes cut a girl in half, right? Actually, if he was going to be cut a girl in half, then he's going to go into jail if that person is going to die. But we see, oh, this girl died, right? Some magicians, they do put a girl in a box and then they cut the box in half and like that. And we say, how is it possible? It's an optical illusion. If he actually killed the girl, then police would come and then he would be in jail. So we are seeing this is all illusion. The way we are seeing, till we are, in pure consciousness, we are seeing everything as illusory. We are thinking this is mine and this is my house and this is I, me, and mine. We are thinking this is my body. It's my body, but I'm not the body. So, so that is all illusion. So we are seeing like that. Otherwise, it's there. Everything is there because it's Krishna's energy. Okay, so we can hear something if nobody else has anything to say. We are seeing this world as a place for our enjoyment. Krishna is saying, Asashvatam Dukkhalayam. It is a temporary place full of misery, and I am seeing it as a place of enjoyment. Of course, it is there is some there, but eventually you don't see that it's Dukkhalayam. It's where repeated birth and death takes place. Krishna says, A Brahma Bhuna Loka Punaravartino Arjuna. Mamupityatu Kanteya Punarjanmana Vidyate. Right from the Brahma Lok down to the lowest planets, all are places of misery wherein repeated birth and death takes place. So the way Krishna sees, Krishna consciousness also means to see the way Krishna sees the whole thing. So Krishna sees everybody as spirit soul. Krishna saying, Aham Bija Pradapita, I am the father of all living entities. So when we see also like that, oh, everybody is spirit soul, everybody is the child of God. So like that, that's how. So Krishna consciousness means to have the consciousness of Krishna. Of course, we can't have the supreme consciousness, means we cannot know everything. But what is Krishna's consciousness? How he sees, that's how we see. Another way of saying Krishna consciousness means to align our vision with Krishna's vision. Right now, we may have a different vision, but to align with Krishna's vision. That is Krishna consciousness. Okay, so we'll stop there. With this, we can hear some class. Let's see. Mhm. Material desires and broken glass. So let's hear. Wrong screen. Okay, let's
And
see.
as the ashes were merging into the flowing world and take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is our highest advancement. We should not be attracted by anything material, higher or lower, but should consider them all on the same level. Our real engagement should be in inquiring about the real purpose of life and rendering devotional service to the Lord. Thus, we will be eternally blessed in our spiritual activities, full of knowledge and bliss. The purport continues on. Srila Prabhupada says so many significant things. Let me pause here and then we'll see how far we get. Srila Prabhupada knows how to bring us to the reality. Sometimes they say, what's the bottom line? So Srila Prabhupada always teaches us what is the ultimate truth of life. And the ultimate truth of life is that whatever position we find ourselves here in this world, some lower, some higher, working class, middle class, business class, first class. In the planes, now you have different classes. So everyone is in a different class. But Prabhupada mentions that at one point, everyone's class will be neutralized. Everyone's class will be normalized. In front of God, Mrityu Sarva Haraschaham. At death, everything is taken away. Then you can't take any of your statuses of life with you. I remember recently I was in the Ganga, in Mayapur, and there in the Ganga we were doing a Visarjan ceremony, ashes, immersing the ashes. So it was a very meditative moment when you immerse someone's ashes in the Ganga. So we do the mantras, the different rituals, then we ride out the boat, then we go into the middle of the Ganga, and then we pour out the ashes. And as the ashes were merging into the flowing Ganga, then at that moment we realized you can't take anything with you. What to speak of even material things, even spiritual things you can't take with you. At the time of death, you can't take your beads with you, but you can take the genuine taste you have for the holy name. At the end of life, you can't take your position with you, but you can take the genuine amount of service attitude that you've developed. At the end of life, you can't take your book collection with you, the big Bhagavatam set, the small one, the one volume, the deluxe. No, you can't take any of those books with you, but what you can take is the genuine amount of realization that you have in your heart. And at the end of this life, you can't take any of the people with you, but you can take the love that you've developed from your interactions of selfless service with them. And so in that moment when the ashes were going into the Ganga, then we realized at the end of every day when we go to sleep, the main question we have to ask ourselves is, what did I do today to invest in my eternal assets? Everything else disappears by the waves of time. Here Srila Prabhupada is paraphrasing in English a verse by Kunti Maharani. Janmeshwarya Shruta Shri Bir Edhama Namada Puman Nirvarhatya Vidatum Ve Tvamakinchana Gocharam. She says, in this world, most people are madly looking for four things. Janma, they want to be surrounded by people who will support them, good family. Aishwarya, people are looking for wealth, money, acquisition, prosperity. Shruta, people want to become more and more learned. BSc, MSc, PhD, MAD. Once I told the devotee I want to become a PhD. He said, PhD? Permanent head damage. I said, that's a bit fanatical. We want to become more and more learned. Shri, beauty. Mirror, mirror on the wall. It's the fairest. It's Valentine's Day today, no? Right? 14th, no? Happy Valentine's Day. Do you know the story of Valentine? Actually, it's funny. Actually, originally it was called Saint Valentine. Valentine's Day. Okay, now we're going into Valentine's Day. I'll come back to the Bhagavatam. But since it's topical, we have to flow with the times of that we live in, you know. Originally, Valentine's Day was Saint Valentine. There were two different stories say different things, but you can see I've done a lot of research on it. Sannyasis know about Valentine's Day. Actually, Saint Valentine, there are different stories, but the two main stories about Saint Valentine is he was a Christian preacher. He was a brahmachari. That's a significant detail in the story. He was completely celibate, and what happened is he dedicated his whole life to God. Every day, morning to evening, he would only preach love of God. And what happened is he was living in a political time when the government did not want him, the rulers did not want him to preach about Christianity. And he was gaining more and more influence, because when someone has love, when someone has purity, then naturally they attract much attention. So he was attracting so much attention, and so the authorities were becoming more and more fearful that he is just preaching love, he is preaching Christianity, he's completely dedicated to God. So at one point they decided to kill him. And therefore this day became known, Saint Valentine, because actually what it showed is the level of selfless love that this one personality had for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that's actually the real story behind Valentine's. Then you may say, but what is all this? Romance and hearts and, letters. And nowadays, I guess they don't send love letters. It's like Instagram reels to each other or something. I don't know how they do it nowadays. I didn't receive any Valentine's messages recently, so what to do? But how did it become the romantic thing that it is now? Then you may ask. It's a spiritual festival. It's a spiritual commemoration. What happened over time is because in the flow of the seasons, there is winter, which is dark, in which there's no growth, in which is very, very cold. And then after winter comes spring. Spring, no? Vasant. And spring is a very beautiful time, because spring is the time of regeneration. Spring is the time when everything grows. Spring is actually a very, very pleasing time. And spring is the time of mating. So spring is the time when the birds and the bees and all the entities in the natural world, energized by the atmosphere, they begin to come together to reproduce. And so gradually over time, what happened is the Valentines went from the celibate saint who gave all of his love to God, and it started going more and more towards spring and romance and the birds and the bees and the mating and the meeting. So anyway, just a little bit of history on Valentine's Day for you. Love is for Krishna. Love is for Krishna. One time, one Mataji, she came to Srila Prabhupada. She was newly married, and she said, and Prabhupada asked her, who do you love more, Krishna or your husband? Well, what would you say? Krishna or your husband? See, everyone is embarrassed to say. After some time, she looked down, she began crying, and she said, Prabhupada, I don't love any of them. What to do? Love is not such a cheap thing. So right now, people are loving Janma Aishwarya Shruta Shri. The whole world is running after this. And the most amazing thing is, the people who have this, they think they are better than others. We think. I can't say for all of us here, definitely. Of course, many of these things I don't have, but whatever we have in even a small quantity, it brings pride. It brings a sense of I'm better than others. It brings a sense of I am successful. It brings a sense of I am special. And so the whole world is looking for these things. Janma, Aishwarya, Shruta, Shri. Here, the Kumaras are telling Prithu Maharaj, it's all just temporary. Some people in this life are higher, some people are lower, materially. But in course of time, everything will be neutralized. When it comes before God at the time of death, then you're stripped. Therefore, later on in the purport, Srila Prabhupada will mention the very, very famous verse of the 11th canto. Yashyaham anugrinami harishe tadhanam shane tato dhanam tyajantasya svajana dukadukitam. Anugranami means special mercy. So Krishna says, Yasyaham, to that person who I bestow my special mercy, harishe, I take away everything. Krishna comes to take away everything. Dhanam, first your wealth. And then, once your wealth is taken away, then you might realize that you have less friends. Where are all my friends gone? You have no money, no success, no beauty. See you later. Then svajana, everyone begins to leave you. The Bhagavatam says the people who we think are so dear to us are like fallible soldiers. Eventually they all leave. Dukkhadukitam. And then you experience one misery after another. But Krishna says, this is my special mercy, because I help you to start putting the focus on what is valuable. Dhruva Maharaj was offended by his stepmother, Suruchi. And therefore he said, I'm going to get revenge. I'm going to show them. I'll prove to them. I will display an opulence greater than even my great-grandfather. And therefore it's mentioned in Hari Bhakti Sudadaya, Stana bilasi tapasi stitoham tvam praptavan deva muni draguyam kacham vichinvan api devya ratnam swamin kritartho smivaram nayache. Stana abhilas, I had a desire to get a kingdom greater than my great-grandfather. And therefore, what did I do? Tapasi stitoham. Therefore, I situated myself in penance. And then what happened as Dhruva Maharaj went to Dhruvatil? You can go to that place. Some of you have been to Madhuvan, where Dhruva Maharaj, very, very enchanting forest, if you go to that place, where Dhruva Maharaj began to meditate. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, standing on one leg. His austerity became more and more austere, more and more strict. And then what happened? He said, Tvam praptavan deva muni draguyam. The Lord appeared before me. The Lord came. The Lord who even the devas and the munis can't see. That Lord came. And then when Dhruva Maharaj saw the Lord, what did he say? Kacham vichinvan. Kach means? Gujarati. Glass. Kacham vichinvan. Api divya ratnam. And a ratna is? A jewel. And the divya ratna is? Transcendental jewel. Dhruva Maharaj said, it's like I was searching for broken glass. And while I was searching for broken glass, instead I found a transcendental jewel. Why does Dhruva Maharaj compare material desires to broken glass? Question. Any ideas? Yes?
When glass is broken, it's useless and you don't need it. So,
Wow, very good. You could be a commentator on the Bhagavatam. Yes, the first quality of broken glass is that it's absolutely useless. Generally, some things, when it's broken, you can still salvage something from it. But broken glass, useless. Can't do anything with it. Very good. Any other quality? Why is material desires compared to broken glass? One other major thing.
they are painful.
As soon as a glass would break, the very first thing, no one come here, clean it up. Because a material desire, a broken glass is very dangerous. So therefore, Dhruva Maharaj is very specific. He compares material desires to broken glass because number one, they're useless. They won't do anything for you. They'll bring you back to square one. Once there was a husband, wife and child, and the genie appeared to them and said, what would you like? The husband, he said, the husband first. The husband said, no, ladies first. So the lady went first. She said, I just want to go to the spiritual world and be free from everyone here. Boom, she went to the spiritual world. Then the genie went to the husband and said, what would you like? He said, I just want to be with my wife again. So she was up there in the spiritual world like in bliss by herself, and then boom, oh my God. You came here, because my God, wasted my wish. And anyway, at least we're in the spiritual world. Something. And then the genie came to the child and he said, what do you want? The child said, I just want my parents back. Boom. The door opened. Back to square one. We use our time, we use our energy, we use our effort, we use all of our blood, sweat and tears for material things, and then after we've gone all the way around, back to square one. Kacham vichinvan divya ratnam. Useless. And dangerous. Because what happens is while we pursue material desires, we lose so many other things. Yes, I want to earn. But then we lose our character. We lose our health. We lose our relationships. We lose our time. No one on their deathbed regrets, I wish I spent more time at work. No one is regretting. In the pursuance of material desires, we lose so many things. What about the father who wanted to provide so many material things for his child? But what ended up happening is every morning he would leave for work before the child woke up. And every evening he would come back home by the time the child had gone to sleep. And therefore he provided everything for his child except the love, care and attention that the child wanted. Kacham vichinvan Divya Ratnam. Very dangerous. So we have to be very, very careful. As soon as we begin approaching and cultivating material desires, it's very, very dangerous because we can get sidetracked. And therefore, the art of life is not how big you can make it. The art of life is how small and simple you can keep it so you can focus on the real thing. So like this, the Kumaras are teaching Prithu Maharaj. He's so humble. He's ready to listen from anyone. And even though they're much younger, they have deep realization and they're sharing so many things with him which are profound. So later on in the purport, we don't have time to read everything because of time. Prabhupada will say, Dharma Artha Kama Moksha. This is the general journey that everyone is on in their life. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to teach us something else. Aradhyo Bhagavan Vraje Satanayas Tadhama Vrindavanam Ramya Kachidupashana Vrajavadu Vargena Ya Kalpita Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanamamalam Prema Pumartho Mahan Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhur Matamidam Tatradharana Paraha. If you want to summarize what Mahaprabhu came to teach the world, this verse summarizes everything. Mahaprabhu came to teach the world 4 things. First thing, what is the goal of life? Prema Pumartho Mahan. The goal of life is love. It's not dharma, it's not artha, it's not kama, it's not even moksha. It's prema. And the second thing that Mahaprabhu came to teach us is who should that love be directed towards? Bhagavan Vrajesa Tanayasta Dhama Vrindavanam. To the son of Nanda Maharaj who is in Vrindavan, Krishna in Vrindavan, that's who should be the object of our love. And who is the example of those who have pure love for Krishna in Vrindavan? Vargena Ya Kalpita Vrajavadu. The Vrajavadu, the milkmaids of Vrindavan, the gopis who gave up everything. And if we want to develop that love for Krishna, what is the handbook by which we develop that love for Krishna? Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanamamalam. So you got it? Mahaprabhu teaches us 4 things. The goal of life is? The object of love is? Krishna in Vrindavan. This is important. Shyamameva param rupam puri madhu puri vara veyakai shaurakam dhyayam adya eva paro rasa. Krishna has many forms. Shyamameva param rupam. But the highest form of Krishna is Krishna in Vrindavan. So Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But Shyam Sundar is the Supreme Personality of Krishna. And who is the example of pure love for Krishna in Vrindavan? And if we want to develop our love for Krishna, then what is the handbook? Finished. That's everything that Mahaprabhu came to teach the world. So, the Kumaras are in this way teaching us. Don't get sidetracked. Don't get into the rat race. Keeping up with the Joneses, keeping up with the Patels. No. It's okay. Relax. Don't judge the success of your kids by how many qualifications they have. Don't judge your kids on their success by how much they're earning. Don't judge your kids on their success based on how high they are in the social ladder. Judge your kids on how much purity of heart they have. And if they have that, they are truly successful. Because all these other things, you can have it, no problem. But that doesn't define you, that doesn't make you successful. What makes you successful is the love that you have in your heart. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. So, for those of you who have extra time and won't get fired from work, we have 15 minutes if anyone has any questions, comments.
When you're talking about sidetrack and having that balance in this world, how do you find the balance between your small dharma and your sanatana dharma? Because sometimes the commentary dharma would be more like it's like as a daughter, as a wife, as a husband.
See, yes, I understand. Today I will be a little strong. You say, how do we find balance? Every day you're finding balance. How do you find the balance between how much time to stay awake and how much time to go to sleep? Is it an intellectual difficulty? Is it? No. How do you find the balance between knowing how much to eat and how much to not eat? That's a hard one, actually. Shot myself in the foot there. Walked into that one. We find the balance. How do you know how to find the balance between so many things in life? We know. We have an internal GPS. There's no formula. We just have to become conscious. What's the formula for staying balanced on a bicycle? 4 turns left, 4 turns right, 3 turns here, 2 turns. Is it a formula? No, you just get on the bike and you feel it and you know how to balance. First become conscious and then become Krishna conscious. So we try to boil everything down into a formula. There's no formula. We just actually have to become conscious. We actually every day have to wake up and realize, what is my priority? If you put your priority first, if you connect in the day first with your deepest identity, if you connect in the day first with your deepest aspiration, then definitely you will find the balance. So, I'm not going to sit here and give you a formula. We just have to become conscious. Sometimes I feel we ask questions, we already know the answer to this. We know the answer. If you were not a balanced person, how could you be where you are now? It's not possible. But somehow we think when it comes to spiritual life, there's some secret. The secret is we just have to become interested in Krishna. The secret is we just have to realize that this is the most important business in the world. The secret is, at the end of the day, we have to ask ourselves, what did I do to invest in my eternal assets? Because that's what's going to last. So the secret is, if you put the big stone in first, then all the small stones, pebbles, sand and water will fit in around it. But if you do it the other way around, good luck. Thank you. Now everyone is scared. I'm a nice person, so sometimes I have to also just be smiling. Yes, so serious, no? Hare Krishna. Yes.
Maharaj, thank you. You mentioned Dhruva Maharaj, and so we know that through renunciation we can't actually get Krishna. Yet he, through tapasya, he had the darshan of Krishna. So And then, of course, sometimes devotees, they try to approach Krishna, and still they find it very difficult. How is that explained?
We can't achieve Krishna simply through tapasya. But we see that Dhruva Maharaj engaged in tapasya and then the Supreme Lord appeared. So how do we understand that? Well, Dhruva Maharaj didn't just do tapasya. The first thing is he was directed by a spiritual master. So that is a big qualification. Yasya deve para bhaktir yatha deve tatha guru. That Krishna says when you have that faith in the instructions. Remember, Narada. What does Narada mean? Da means to give. And Nara means Narayan. So Narada is a spiritual master. He's qualified to give Narayan. And therefore, because Dhruva Maharaj followed his instructions, therefore Krishna then appears, because the Guru gives the instructions by which you can see Krishna. And what instructions? He didn't tell Dhruva Maharaj simply to do dry austerity. But what did he say? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Nama Chintamane Krishnas Chaitanya Rasavigraha. The name is like Chintamani, it fulfills all the desires. And therefore Dhruva Maharaj wasn't just doing tapasya, but he was doing Harinam Sankirtan. Golokera Premadhan Harinam Sankirtan. And therefore he was delivered the eternal wealth of Goloka, because Nam Nam Akari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shakti. Nama Shakti. Nam no hi Yavati Shakti Papa Nirharane Hare. Krishna's name has so much power. So, yes. And devotees also have to do some tapasya, because Bhogeshwarya Prashaktanam Tayaparipachetasham. If you're attached to enjoyment and opulence, you'll never be able to do devotional service with resolute determination. So everyone in their life has some tapasya, of course. Is it? Do some tapasya? Kadashi, fasting, something. So like that. It wasn't simply tapasya. It was also the orders, the instructions of the spiritual master, who then also engaged him in meditating on the name of Krishna. It's okay? Yes.
You're sitting on the Vyasa sense, reminding you of the Brajmandal Parikrama. You're sitting under the tree and in the tent giving such enlightenment classes.
Hare Krishna.
I've got a question which is not related to today's topic. If your permission is there, I can ask it.
Yes, sure.
In Bhagavatam, it mentions how did the Dwarka Vasis went back to the town. But it doesn't mention how did the Vrindavan Vasis, the Braj Vasis, go back.
Went back to the spiritual world.
Yeah. And another one in relation to that is that did Krishna ever go back to Vrindavan once he left?
Did Krishna keep his promise? So on the second point, did Krishna ever go back to Vrindavan? Yes, it's mentioned that Krishna did. After Krishna killed Dantavakra, Shishupal and Dantavakra, then it's explained in the later chapters of Srimad Bhagavatam. Give me the book Bhagavad. It's mentioned in the later chapters of the Bhagavatam. Let me just give you the chapter reference so then you can look it up for yourself. It's mentioned that yes, Krishna did actually go back to Vrindavan. Where is it here? Yes, after Krishna killed Dantavakra and Viduranath and all those demons, Krishna visited Vrindavan for 2 months, after which he went back to Dwaraka. So this is described in the 76, 77 and 78th chapters of the 10th canto. So yes, Krishna did go back to Vrindavan. And how did the Brijabasis go back? It's explained that after Krishna left the world also, mystically all the Brijabasis also disappeared from this world and entered back into the eternal abode. This is described in other commentaries. I would have to find the reference, but yes, it's described like this, that the Brijabasis actually, they were mystically removed. So this is all, they kind of all like that. It's similar, for example, when, for example, this kind of departure is described again when Parikshit goes to Kusum Sarovar to hear Bhagavatam from Uddhav, and the queens of Dwarka are listening, isn't it? Because they came and they really were seeking some solace that Krishna had left. So they were told that if you hear Bhagavatam, then your separation from Krishna will be mitigated. So it's explained that Kusum Sarovar, the queens of Dwarka were hearing Bhagavatam from the mouth of Uddhav. And as they were absorbed in Bhagavatam, then it's explained, hearing, then eventually they closed their eyes, they were hearing Bhagavatam, and then they just became so absorbed, and then they opened their eyes and they were back in the spiritual world like that. So this is described like sounds like ChatGPT. All right, anyone else?
Thank you, Maharaj, for your class today. So, my question is, in a relationship, in any kind of relationship, when we are there, we tend to judge the other person.
Adjust the other person?
Judge the other person.
Judge. Oh.
So, just because we want them to be better. Yeah, and in that case, how do we maintain our attitude? That's my question. How do we maintain?
Thank you. So sometimes we judge others, but we have a good motivation. We want to see them do better. So how do we deal with that? First thing is that in a relationship, first you have to also appreciate. If you only judge, if you only give feedback, if you only give correction and improvement, but we never spent the time to appreciate, acknowledge, accept all the good things within them, then know for sure that your feedback and improvement won't go very far. So the first thing is that also give kind words, also give appreciative words, also give encouraging words. Then when it comes to giving some feedback, it's much more likely to be accepted in the right spirit. So that's the first thing. Second thing is, when we judge or when we're seeing something, what we can do is, instead of judging, what we do is we give constructive feedback. There's a difference between judging someone and there's a difference with giving constructive feedback. In other words, when we see that someone can do better, instead of just telling them, you can do better, what we actually do is we say, this is how you can do better, and I'm here to help you. Unless we're willing to actually help someone to be better, there's a good chance there's no point giving them feedback. Then probably you're just judging them. If you're there not just to tell them, but to actually also be part of the solution to help them, then that kind of feedback goes a long way. So that's the second thing I would say. And then the third thing is that we should always be patient. If we look in our own life, people were patient with us. They took the time, even when we were unwilling. I remember when I started Krishna consciousness, I was chanting one round for 2 years. What's up with this guy? I couldn't. Nowadays, if I would be preaching to someone after 2 years, only on one round, what's up with you? But that's where we were. And devotees were patient with us. Just see how patient Srila Prabhupada was. And then, over time, everyone did everything. So be patient. Don't expect overnight miracles. So like this, there's a way in which we can actually help people to become better. All right? Okay, maybe last question.
So on the path towards loving Krishna, how do we not get distracted by material goals, and if there's people around us who might also trying to remind us of material goals and sacredness?
Rumi says, the fire inside of you has to burn more intensely than the fire outside of you. Again, there's no strategy here. The only strategy is you have to become convinced. The only strategy is that in your heart, do you believe that this is the priority? Different people engage with Krishna consciousness in different ways. Krishna consciousness is like an ocean. Some people just appreciate it from the beach. Oh, very nice. Looks like they're having a good time in there. Very nice. Some people just do that. For the whole afternoon, they just sit on a deck chair and watch everyone else in the ocean having a good time. Oh, I'm fine here. Then some people go to the edge of the ocean. No, just nice. Dip one foot in. Very nice, very cooling. And then some people go into the ocean and then they're surrounded by the ocean, but they're just swimming on the surface. And then there are some who Rupa Goswami say become makara. Makara means a shark. A shark swims deep in the ocean. So then there are some who go deep and they want to find the jewels on the seabed. So which one are we? Are we watching the devotees from the sideline? Are we the ones just dipping our toes in? Yes, nice. Very good. Are we the ones in the middle of the ocean thinking we're immersed in Krishna consciousness, but still on the surface? Or are we the ones who are going deep? To become Krishna conscious, you have to become very thoughtful. You have to realize, samsara dava nalalida lokam. Don't be fooled by the sun and the breeze. Look at it, beautiful, isn't it? What a beautiful place. Australia is like a heavenly planet. It's a nice place. No. Can you see? Samsara dava nalalida loka. It's a blazing forest fire. Can you see? Can you see? Or are you seeing a nice sunny morning in Brisbane and it's Friday and the weekend's coming? You have to become very thoughtful. It's not a joke. That's the only strategy. Then you won't be distracted. Are you distracted when you're hungry? Have you ever seen a devotee fall asleep? Okay, here, one devotee, put their hand in the bead bag. Oh, somehow the sleep overcomes you when you put your hand in the bead bag. Now put your hand on the spoon. No, I can't, Prabhu. I just keep falling asleep while I'm taking prasadam. Like, how do I stay awake taking prasadam? It's just like, I just can't do it, not a joke. To remember Krishna at the time of death is not a joke. It's a big thing. How are you going to remember Krishna at the time of death? It means you have to have become completely immersed. It's going to take a special effort. You can't do it half-heartedly. Of course, whatever you do is wonderful and you'll make advancement. But sometimes we are also like, we just take it very lightly. Like there's this song, Lord Chaitanya's moon is rising and it's not at all surprising, and we're telling everyone on the street, we're telling everyone we meet that we're going home. It's very nice. Lord Chaitanya definitely will help. But we have to become serious. That's the only strategy. Then you won't be distracted. Then you'll know, Vyavasayatmika Buddhi. In this life, I have to get Krishna. So many lives I gave to Maya. One life to Krishna. And I'm not going to get distracted. Let's pray for each other. Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande. Thank you so much for
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Haribol, Prabhuji, thank you very much.
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Prabhupada.
Haribol.